Deemed, rehabilitated, and real entertaining. This is the Carl Jackson Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to today's edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. It is a Tuesday. Guys, listen, and we all know the big news. The big news is Tucker Carlson is out at Fox News. Don Lemon is out at CNN, which I don't believe that's major news. I'll talk about the difference between Tucker and Don Lemon briefly. And Biden has announced his reelection bid for the presidency. We're not going to go into great detail with that. However, we are going to do an upcoming podcast. My next podcast, I am going to touch on the Biden reelection campaign. And I'm going to tell you why it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for someone to beat him in a primary, despite his failing health. It's going to be very, very difficult. It's always difficult to beat an incumbent president, and that hasn't changed and will not change, even though Biden is the most disastrous president in modern times and perhaps even in American history. All right, so all that and more on this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Please stay tuned for some quick program messaging, and we'll be right back. All right, today's show is brought to you in part by Birch Gold Group. Inflation has consequences as the Fed raises interest rates to combat out-of-control government spending. Long-term bonds have diminished in value, crippling banks. Depositors are holding their breath, and investors are bailing on bank stocks. Diversification has never been more important. Guys, you have probably read that the dollar has tanked literally 7.5 points or 7.4% just since November of 2022. It's insane. The recent surge in gold prices is directly tied to the extreme market volatility right now. All right. So this is why gold has historically been a great hedge against the stock market and against inflation. The only company I trust to help you diversify into gold is Birch Gold Group. Text Carl, my name, C-A-R-L, to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or your 401k that's tied to the volatile market into an IRA in physical precious metals, gold, and silver. And the best part is it's tax sheltered. Again, text the name Carl or my name Carl, C-A-R-L, to 989898 to claim your free info kit on gold today. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of happy customers trust Birch Gold to protect their future. You can too. Again, text Carl to 989898. Make sure your money is backed by something that's tangible, something of value. Birch Gold Group, text Carl to 989898. All right, let's get right into the issue with Tucker Carlson. Let me just say this. Let me say this from the onset, if you will. I think it is a major mistake. I think it was a major mistake. And obviously, we don't know all of the background behind the Tucker Carlson firing. I do have some details based on a Wall Street Journal report and some reporting from redstate.com as well. And I will touch on those issues. Obviously, a lot of what we will be saying will be based upon speculation. But let me say this. I think Tucker Carlson's firing is hurtful as it is. Definitely, I'll be up front with you. I don't watch Fox News really, except for Tucker Carlson, and I'll stay up to watch Greg Gutfeld's monologue on his program as well. I love Sean Hannity. I listen to his radio show, but I don't really have a need to watch his TV show because I know he's going to repeat or have some of the same topics. So the only reason that I tune in for Fox News for the most part is Tucker Carlson, and I know that I'm not alone. This is going to be a major blow to Fox News. There's no doubt about it. And maybe not, monetarily, we all know about the Dominion voting lawsuit settlement, and we'll talk about that briefly. We all know about that. But I think in the long term, listen, it appears to me Fox is going a different direction. But But I think this is gonna in the short term. I think it's going to hurt them, and maybe even in the long term. I wasn't so sure about that yesterday, but the more that I think about it, I will say this, and I think Megyn Kelly got it correctly. Tucker Carlson is absolutely free to do what he wants. The guy was commanding over 4 million viewers during the 2020 lockdowns when everybody was home. He averages over 3 million viewers per show. So he's not hurting for viewership at all. And I think that, frankly, Tucker Carlson's firing in a weird way, if he so chooses, will be great for alternative conservative media sources. This guy, if he wanted to, could start up his own network now. I mean, at least online, right? Or he could start his own podcast or show. He can do exactly what Bill O'Reilly has done. He can do exactly what Megyn Kelly has done, and he will command a bigger audience right from the jump. So it's yet to see what he'll do. But honestly, I think with Tucker Carlson's ouster, more people are going to be like, man, can I even trust these big networks to want to bring me the truth or some of the things that I want to hear, some of the opinions that confirm or not confirm, but affirm what I believe. And as major news organizations start to back away from tough, controversial topics because left-wing radicals are mad or upset, I think it's going to be extremely hard for these dinosaur-type networks to survive, and it's going to be extremely advantageous, frankly, for people like me, coming up in the ranks. So I think that Fox News did themselves a major disservice. Obviously, Glenn Beck has talked about it and others. There's a connection to BlackRock and all these type of things, but there's other things that are going on inside of Fox. Let me say this. I think one of the bigger issues, and I don't think I haven't heard anyone say this, but I think one of the things that Fox feared is that Tucker Carlson was becoming bigger than the network itself. He was literally becoming the face of Fox News. I mean, let's face it. Like I said, I know that I'm not the only one. I've heard plenty of people or have seen plenty of people online commenting about it. You turned on Fox News to watch Tucker Carlson. He was the only show that really, like I said, besides Gutfeld, I enjoyed hearing Gutfeld's monologues. But I just kind of kept the TV on. I would do some reading, stuff like that. But his show was the one that I was like, man, I want to get back. I want to hear what this guy has to say. That his style is very unique, and obviously he's a very smart, intellectual guy. He's very strong in his convictions. I didn't agree with him on everything, but I got to tell you, for the most part, I did, and I absolutely enjoyed his courage and the topics that he was willing to take on his show. And you had to know that the executives must have been breathing down his neck or concerned about some of the issues that were taking place. I think we saw it with the J6 coverage when he was showing how the shop, man, I forget the guy that was wearing the costume, Jacob Chansley, I believe is his name. I believe he's out of jail in a halfway house, I believe right now, because of Tucker Carlson's footage of J6. Kevin McCarthy released video to him. Tucker Carlson's team went through that video and proved that that Jacob Chansley, the shaman, whatever, was not a threat to the police officers or threatening in any way. As a matter of fact, they appeared to be ushering the guy around. But it didn't appear that Fox News, I mean, all of a sudden, that was pretty much it. He had another night where the news wasn't as dramatic, and everyone sat there wondering, is this it? Is there more? And now you have to go back and wonder, were there pressures put on Fox News execs? Was there pressure put on Tucker Carlson from Fox News execs? And those questions are going to continue to swirl around people's minds. And all I think that it does is it creates a distrust for mainstream media, including Fox News. I mean, there's no doubt a lot of people tuned out last night. They have this. It's now Fox News Tonight, at least for now, until they settle on a permanent replacement for Tucker Carlson. Brian Kilmeade, from what I read, was on last night. I didn't even bother watching. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I need some more time to free my mind from political nonsense to some degree. I can always just read. I don't mind reading. So maybe that's a good thing. But I do think that Tucker Carlson was a threat to Fox News in this way. He simply was becoming their brand. And when you have leadership, I believe that aren't necessarily conservative or very conservative or moderate at best, they probably, I would imagine they didn't want him to be the face of Fox News. And that's what he was. His name, if you can imagine that, his name was becoming bigger than Fox News. And I really believe that was an issue for them, because they would have, you basically assume that whatever he's talking about, they support. And I don't think they wanted to support it. You know, it was like, I'll be frank, it's like LeBron James. I haven't watched the Lakers play since LeBron James has become a Laker. I'm old school. I love the Lakers with Magic Johnson, Byron Scott, you know, Michael Cooper, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, Kurt Rambis. Man, that's when I love the Lakers, and I love them under Kobe and Shaq. All right, I'm not a fan of the Lakers with LeBron James. Too much of a social justice warrior. I understand he's a good man, good husband outside, and family man and all that kind of stuff, and that's great. But I don't like what he's done for sports in this sense. I think he's contributed to the dividing people. As great as he is as an athlete, I think he's contributed to that. And when he came to the Los Angeles Lakers, it was the first time that I felt like, all right, this guy was somebody that was just coming to the Lakers to build his brand, expand his brand, and even be bigger than the Lakers brand itself. And I simply didn't want that. And I don't enjoy watching them. I haven't watched them since he's been on the team, and I will not watch them until he retires or goes elsewhere, frankly. All right. So, but I think that's what Fox News was facing. And I believe they feared that the news stories that Tucker reported on and that viewers like you and I enjoyed watching, I think they feared that those news stories and Tucker Carlson was shaping the image of Fox News. And that's not something that they wanted to be associated with. That they just didn't. You know, they clearly have been moving to the center. I mean, we saw a special. They did a special a year or two ago where I think it was Dana Perino that was they were talking about and interviewing this family that had this. I believe it was a boy that was transitioning to a girl or vice versa. And they highlighted that. I'm like, what? Is this the conservative Fox News network? I mean, that's a late sign. All right. Things had already started to transpire, but that was a late sign that they were literally making a market shift to appease to people that are, I don't even know, because I think that's a far left story, frankly. But that's what it appeared what was happening. All right. So Tucker had been there. Apparently, according to a Wall Street Journal report, Fox News ousts Tucker Carlson. According to that article, Tucker Carlson had been fired just 10 minutes before the network announced the departure. So we're going to show you briefly in just a second here some video from Tucker Carlson at a speech he gave in front of the Heritage Foundation on Saturday evening. And there's no indication that Fox had spoke to him at all. There are other things in the background that happen at Fox that we'll get into after we show a couple of these videos. Just a couple of more things that I want to touch on real quick before Gabe loads them up here. But Lachlan Murdoch is a chief executive of Fox News. Parent company Fox Corp. You got the Fox News CEO Suzanne Scott. If you guys remember, I can't remember if she was brought in right after the Bill O'Reilly firing or right before, but Fox News then, even with Bill O'Reilly, and Bill O'Reilly is a moderate, all right, but even then, maybe some of the issues he was taking on. Obviously, there was a issue of sexual allegations behind the scene. Bill O'Reilly contested that, I believe, said there was something going on in the past, something that he settled, information that shouldn't have been leaked was leaked, even though he had settled, years and years and years before. And I think they used that to oust him for whatever reason. Maybe there was more going on behind the scenes, but I believe that Susan Scott, she was brought in right around that time. But apparently, Lachlan Murdoch, according to some reports or a source at Fox News that spoke to the Wall Street Journal, said that Lachlan Murdoch and Susan Scott had decided to fire Tucker Carlson on Friday. But it's pretty apparent he was at this event for not Fox News, Heritage Foundation on Friday, and it's pretty clear that he didn't know. that he didn't know. But again, this move, I believe ultimately, I think this is going to be bad for Fox News. I think this is going to be bad for traditional media, or what's being called dinosaur media. I think this is going to be excellent for alternative media sources. Wherever Tucker decides to go it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Their ratings are going to grow. If that is just alternative media and creating his own thing, guess what? I will click to follow this guy because I love the way not only that he brings stories, or the stories that he brings, but the way in which he does it. His style, it is very unique. And it's obviously he's a very smart guy. He studies his subject very well. And I don't always agree with him on foreign policy issues, and some of which I do, some that I don't. But I tell you what, he always makes a compelling argument that you want to hear. Now, take a listen to these videos. But before we do, let me do this. I do want to talk to you about MyPillow. All right. MyPillow 2.0 is out after 20 years of the original MyPillow. Mike Lindell of MyPillow has decided to up the game, if you will, with the new MyPillow 2.0. It has a temperature regulating thread on the exterior now. It has the same patented adjusted feel on the inside, however, but now it's softer and it's smoother and it's cooler than the original MyPillow, if you can believe that. Absolutely amazing. There's a special offer for my listeners. Buy one, get one free. That's right. You heard the F word, free. Buy one, get one free. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com. Click on the radio listener square at the top of the page. Enter my name, Carl, C-A-R-L. Or if you prefer, give them a call, 800-858-0263. 800-858-0263. This new fabric, this new regulated temperature regulating technology, fabric is all made. It's 100% made in the USA, providing American jobs, American manufacturing, 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee, and a good night's rest. Take advantage of the deal and peruse the website, mypillow.com. You can take advantage of any deals that are available by simply using my name, by clicking on the radio listener square, C-A-R-L, or give them a call, 800-858-0263, 800-858-0263. And let me make mention of this, Pardoned by Grace. Guys, we all need to be inspired. For God's sakes, we need to be inspired. Life doesn't always turn out the way you want. We all want to find purpose and meaning in life. And sometimes just in everyday life, we just need to be inspired, especially in this cold civil war, I believe is what we're going through right now. So anyway, Pardoned by Grace. All right. I want to talk to you about that. From the makers of Graham Family Films comes a powerful and inspiring true story that's going to touch your heart and renew your faith. Introducing Pardoned by Grace. It's the incredible story about the journey of Scott Heiberger. He's played by actor Joey Lawrence, and it's a convicted criminal Scott Heiberger was a convicted criminal that turned prison minister who defies all the odds. He receives an unlikely pardon to continue his ministry on the outside. Pretty cool. Featuring Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter Michael W. Smith as Heiberger's pastor, Pardoned by Grace showcases the transformative power of redemption and the boundless reach of God's love and mercy. Watch Pardoned by Grace on Salem Now, and when you purchase a copy of the DVD at salemnow.com, portions of that sale will be donated to Scott Heiberger's nonprofit prison organization, which is called Behind the Wire Ministries. So, and they provide hope and support to the incarcerated. Together, we can share the power of faith and forgiveness with those who need it most. Visit salemnow.com to purchase your DVD and donate to this incredible cause today. Again, the movie is Pardoned by Grace, salemnow.com, salemnow.com, salemnow.com. All right, now I want to get to my man, Tucker Carlson. And again, I think this is going to be great. Bad for Fox, ultimately great for alternative media sources, because wherever Tucker goes, they're going to thrive. And if he decides to do his own thing, again, like Megyn Kelly did, like Bill O'Reilly did, I think it's going to contribute to these news organizations, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Many people watch them on television. You're going to start seeing even more people go online to find alternative media sources. They're going to find Tucker Carlson, and as a result of searching for Tucker Carlson, they're going to find people like me. All right. So I think it's going to be. I think it's a I think it's good news for alternative conservative media. I'll put it that way. And Tucker Carlson didn't lose anything. Again, he can take, I mean, it's frustrating not to see him on Fox, but we know that he can take that audience and run with it. People aren't going to leave Tucker Carlson. That guy, there's always somebody that comes along in media and in any profession that's just unique. Whether it's a Rush Limbaugh, whether it's a Tucker Carlson, whether it's a Michael Jordan, whether it's a Kobe Bryant or Magic Johnson, a Larry Bird, you know what I mean? There's just always somebody, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Walter Payton. You know what I'm saying? There's always somebody that comes along, and it's just like they're just the cream of the crop. They're just the cream of the crop. Tucker Carlson is blessed to be one of those people. Now, without any further ado, let's run through some of these clips, and I think you'll see why Tucker Carlson is so loved by many of his listeners and viewers. Let's roll the tape, Gabe.
Downward pressure of whatever this is that we're going through, and you look with disdain and sadness as you see people you know become quislings, you see them revealed as cowards, you see them going along with a new thing, which is clearly a poisonous thing, a silly thing, you know, saying things you know they don't believe because they want to keep their jobs. If there's a single person in this room who hasn't seen that through George Floyd and COVID and the Ukraine war, raise your hand. Oh, nobody? Right. You all know what I'm talking about. And you're so disappointed in people. You know, you are, and you realize that the herd instinct is maybe the strongest instinct. I mean, it may be stronger than the hunger and sex instincts, actually. The instinct, which again is inherent to be like everybody else and not to be cast out of the group, not to be shunned, that's a very strong impulse in all of us from birth. And it takes over, unfortunately, in moments like this, and it's harnessed, in fact, by bad people in moments like this to produce uniformity. And you see people going along with this, and you lose respect for them. And that's
And honestly, this is such a powerful statement, right? Because it's exactly what you shouldn't be in media, which takes me to Don Lemon. Now, Don Lemon is out at CNN as well. And I jokingly said on social media that Don Lemon was fired by CNN and no one cares. And there's truth to that. There's truth to that, but there's a major difference between Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon, besides millions and millions and millions of viewers every day. I mean, Don Lemon struggled to get a few 100,000 viewers on a regular basis. And you have to wonder why he was allowed to stay on CNN, except, I mean, it wasn't because of talent. I'm not saying this to be mean, but if you were to go back and watch Don Lemon on CNN, it had nothing to do with talent. So why was he allowed to stay there? And I would just argue that it's wokeism. The guy's black. He's gay. They didn't want to offend. I think yesterday was the perfect opportunity for CNN that had been building a case for quite some time to try to, obviously get rid of Don Lemon. And they did it. I think they did it in the wake of the news with Tucker Carlson. I figured they thought this would be the best way to go ahead and get rid of him. Get rid of him now. Oh, Tucker Carlson is out. Oh, let's go ahead and do what we've been wanting to do all along and kick Don Lemon to the curb, because you're never going to get ratings with Don Lemon. He was just a mean guy. He was a nasty guy, very condescending on air, and he didn't have a lot of talent. He wasn't bringing the news, contrary to popular opinion, especially his own. The guy was clearly an opinion journalist masquerading as a journalist, and he simply wasn't. So he couldn't tell. He couldn't tell the truth. And then, according to some, Don Lemon, or actually a quote from Don Lemon, he tweeted it out. He was upset with CNN management and said that no one bothered to tell him, but they came back and said that was totally inaccurate. They instead of learning through his agent, no one bothered to tell him face to face, basically. But CNN came back and said that was inaccurate. They asked Don Lemon to come see management, basically, and he declined. And he decided to make his views known on Twitter instead. But that's the story with Don Lemon. Apparently, both Tucker and Don Lemon have hired the same attorney to represent them, and they're being quiet right now. But going back to what Tucker Carlson said, journalism, you have to be willing to report the news wherever it leads you. And sometimes there is pressure, like, oh man, people are what are people going to think if I say this and that? Sometimes you do have to fight those thoughts. I think God has made me in a weird way. I do fight those thoughts at times, but I'm like, screw it, man. I'm just going to tell the truth. And I hope that you can respect me for that, because we're not always going to agree. Even people that watch this podcast, by the way, please share this podcast. Guys, we need the viewership to grow on YouTube. You could really help us out by subscribing or sharing this podcast with a friend and having them subscribe to our YouTube or Rumble channel. As well. We're there on the Carl Jackson Show. Subscribe to the podcast, thecarljacksonshow.com, or wherever you go to get your podcast. Please follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on True Social. I'm on Facebook. Please follow me there. But what Tucker Carlson said is so true, especially in his field, especially in this field. We have to be on the search for truth, and we have to buck uniformity. We have to buck it. We have to just go wherever the truth leads us. So, very important point by Tucker Carlson. Let me just share this too. It was a major hit to Fox, right? So shares of Fox Corporation were down as much as 5.1% after the news broke. Prior to the announcement, shares of Fox had climbed up 0.3%. So Fox lost more than $690 million in market value after the announcement. Now, they did regain some of that by the end of the day. But again, it's going to be very hard to replace Tucker Carlson, a guy that got over 3 million viewers per night. Fox News will lose viewership in that slot. And again, I think they are losing credibility. You get rid of Bill O'Reilly. I think Megyn Kelly left of her own volition to try something new. And then you get rid of Tucker Carlson. People are going to start wondering, well, even if you hire somebody that I like, how long before you kick that person out? What if they want to be a unique individual and report the news in a new and refreshing way? What's going to happen then? See, it's clear to me that what's happening with Tucker Carlson, despite some of the news that I'm going to share, is that that Fox News is going in a different editorial direction. Again, they're going closer to the middle, and they're getting rid of some of the more conservative people. And frankly, I am concerned about some of the conservative people that remain there. Will there arise a situation where they find the perfect time or excuse to get rid of them? I mean, consider Sean Hannity. He's been there for 20 plus years. But again, Tucker Carlson is going to be virtually impossible to replace. And you have to consider the things that have transpired recently. I mean, obvious is the lawsuit against the voting machine company, or the voting machine Dominion Voting that sued Fox News. And they got a settlement of $787.5 million. I mean, it's a lot of money, and it was a big hit. It was a very big hit. But again, Tucker Carlson, I think, will be all right, and it's going to be great for social. It's going to be great for alternative media. He's going to, from what I understand, from what I've read, he was making over $20 million a year or so, and so they've got to pay out his contract. So financially, he'll be fine. But what I'm concerned about is a hit that news is taking, especially leading up to the 2024 election. Can you think of anybody that brings the news better than this guy? I can't front. He's one of a kind. Again, Dominion Voting Systems settled with the Fox News for over basically $800 million. All right. And the settlement was, or Fox News or Dominion had to accuse Fox News of airing false claims by hosts and guests that Dominion helped rig the outcome of the 2020 U.S. presidential election. And they were having guests on that were saying that. And listen, a lot of people felt that way because we all sat there in the middle of the night during the election night, and we saw votes apparently flip. We saw counters stop. I witnessed it personally. I'm not stupid. I'm not crazy. And I know you guys did too. So people were legitimately concerned whether or not that was an issue with Dominion voting systems or people that were working the machines or whatever. That was part of the argument. And I think people had a right to come on and question. But, now they've settled with Dominion, and that's that. I do think Dominion lost credibility, and now Fox will as well. Frankly, there was also private messages that were sent by Tucker Carlson to his colleagues and legal proceedings on the Dominion defamation suit. In some, Carlson mocked claims made on air by guests and said he hated former President Donald Trump and complained about colleagues and Fox executives. Now, again, this is from the Wall Street Journal editorial page. Frankly, I don't care. I don't care about this. I care about the guys reporting. I honestly, reporters may hate people. They may like people. What matters is, how do they report? Even if they're opinion guy, even if you can hate somebody and admire their positions. You could be annoyed with Donald Trump and hate Donald Trump, but admire his political positions, or hate some political positions. And frankly, that's all that mattered in that. And as long as he was doing that, I frankly don't care. I know a lot of people get hot and bothered and they take it personal. I just don't. In a private text message exchange about 2 weeks after Election Day, Carlson, Laura Ingraham, and Sean Hannity complain about the network's news coverage, including the fact that the network was the first to call the key state of Arizona. And that was a big deal, right? That was a huge deal because everybody was like, what are you doing? I think it was like 1% reporting, and they called it for Arizona. I mean, can you imagine voters may not have shown up as a result of that? What? It's over in Arizona? I'm not bothering voting. You know what I mean? That was a huge deal. Huge deal. And then there were part of the text from Carlson. One of the texts said, we devote our lives to building an audience, and they let Chris Wallace and Leland F. and Vittert wreck it. And obviously Carlson was talking about Chris Wallace and Vittert. Chris Wallace is now with CNN. Vittert is now with News Nation. Another quote from Tucker: do the executives understand how much credibility and trust we've lost with our audience? So now this information is being leaked. This information is being leaked with the Dominion case, I believe. And now maybe some of the executives are seeing this stuff for the very first time. Maybe they're stewing. Maybe they're looking for a reason to get rid of Tucker Carlson because, again, he is becoming the face of Fox News, and they're completely terrified that he's doing just that. But this is where we are. But Tucker Carlson has built his career at one point, and he's going to be able to build his career again. There's another story, underlying story that you need to be aware of. And this was reported some time ago, but it's out there in the media. And this is another issue. Now, maybe Fox News is just scared for another major lawsuit that they're going to have to battle. And I just want to go ahead and share it. Court documents also revealed, this is just more from court documents also revealed Carlson's feelings about Trump in a text message exchange from January 2021. Carlson said the network was, quote, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights, close quote. And he said, I hate him passionately. I don't care. As long as he reports the news and speaks about the news, I don't care how he feels about Trump. But saying the network is very close to being, I can understand why, especially if you're a Trump supporter, you might be a little disturbed or frustrated with that. I am a Trump supporter, but I would say this: the guy continued to bring the news. He continued to bring the news, and he continued to bring it with a passion. So I was happy with him. And we all know that Trump is a front runner for 2024. We talked about the J6 videos. I mean, so you consider J6, you consider the Arizona letdown, if you will, calling the Arizona election too soon, which I think helped Biden. I really do believe that helped Biden that night. But the story that I'm also talking about is this woman, Abby Grossberg. So Abby Grossberg, she is a defendant in a lawsuit that was filed last month. All right. She's a former producer. I believe I heard on Glenn Beck's show that she booked guests, if I'm not mistaken, for Tucker Carlson and the Fox Business host Maria Bartiromo. The suit, which also names Fox and other individuals, said, quote, Mr. Carlson's derogatory comments towards women and his disdain for those who dare to object to such misogyny is well known on the set, close quote. Fox News fired Ms. Grossberg shortly afterward, saying she filed her complaint without taking steps to, quote, to protect, quote, portions containing Fox's privileged information. In a statement Monday following news of Mr. Carlson's ouster, Ms. Grossberg's lawyer said, quote, Tucker Carlson's departure from Fox News is in part an admission of the systemic lying, bullying, and conspiracy mongering claimed by our client, close quote. The fact is, we have no idea. We have no idea. These are just some of the things that are happening in the background. Maybe they led to his firing. Maybe it was something else. I've heard stories that Tucker Carlson wanted to be able to talk about the lawsuit with the voting machine company. Fox didn't want him to. I don't know if that's true or not, but those are some of the things that are out there. But Tucker Carlson will rebuild. This guy started at the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, then moved on to the Weekly Standard when it was worth something. Then he rose to prominence on national television on the CNN show Crossfire. I didn't realize he was on that. And then he had a memorable run-in with Daily Show host Jon Stewart on there. He was also on MSNBC. He also co-founded the conservative site The Daily Caller, which is still a great site to this day. Just recently, he was talking about one of the so-called Tennessee Three, and the media, they appeared at the White House yesterday. They're still ignoring the Nashville Six and haven't released the manifesto of the Tennessee assassin. But anyway, apparently he made some remarks about Justin Pearson, one of the Tennessee lawmakers, and said that he probably got into an elite college because he was a black man. And that is a possibility. I hate to say that, but it's true. That's why I think we need to get rid of affirmative action. Black people are just as capable as whites and anybody else when we apply ourselves to getting to succeeding at higher levels of education. I just think affirmative action needs to go away. There was the controversy with M&M, recent controversy with Bud Light, and you just have to wonder with all of these potential advertisers if this was stuff that Fox News was just willing to continue to handle. I just think they were increasingly, again, scared of Tucker Carlson and scared that he was becoming the face of Fox News and scared that the stories that he was aligning himself with and the stories that he was discussing weren't stories that they wanted covered, or at least not in the ways in which he covered them. But Fox News, I think they are experiencing a backlash, and I think they will continue to experience a backlash. And again, it is a sad day that Tucker Carlson is off of Fox News, but he'll be fine. It's a great day for alternative conservative media. Let's play the next clip of Tucker Carlson. We'll just close out with some of these clips. Guys, please, again, don't forget my sponsors, Pardon by Grace. Check out the movie. Feel inspired. SalemNow.com. Don't forget Birch Gold Group. Text Carl to 989898. The dollar has dropped nearly 7.5 points just since November of 2022. Get something tangible. All right. Get something tangible. Birch Gold Group. Text Carl, CARL to 989898. And don't forget mypillow.com, the new MyPillow 2.0. Buy one, get one free. All you have to do is all you have to do is go to the Radio Listener Square or click on the Radio Listener Square at the top of the page, mypillow.com. Enter my name, Carl. All right. CARL. That's all it takes. And buy the pillow. Buy one, get one free, or give them a call, 800-858-0263. Here's more of Tucker Carlson. Let's go ahead and roll a game.
Once you say one true thing and stick with it, all kinds of other true things occur to you. The truth is contagious. Lying is, but the truth is as well. And the second you decide to tell the truth about something, you are filled with this, I don't want to get supernatural on you, but you are filled with this power from somewhere else. Try it. Tell the truth about something. You feel it every day. The more you tell the truth, the stronger you become. That's completely real. It's measurable in the way that you feel. And of course, the opposite is also true. The more you lie, the weaker and more terrified you become. We all know that feeling. You lie about something, and all of a sudden you're a prisoner of that lie. You are diminished by it. You are weak and afraid.
Man, just good stuff. Just good stuff. This guy is going to be successful wherever he goes. He's going to be successful wherever he goes. I think this is a blessing for alternative media, assuming that's the route that he'll go. And I hope that he will. Frankly. This guy's voice should be heard. Again, there's some people in this industry, they're not going to make a dent. Don Lemon wasn't making a dent. Don Lemon was part of the uniformity crowd on the left, parroting everything that the left parrots. I mean, there wasn't any critical thinking going on in Don Lemon's head. Very different from Tucker Carlson. And obviously it showed with the ratings. He was thought-provoking. He actually garnered more listeners in the Democratic demographic, I forget the age group, than CNN and MSNBC did. I believe it was like 25 to 34. I believe it was the age group. But even more Democrats watched his show than watched CNN and MSNBC, whether they hated him or loved him for whatever reason. They watched his show more. Do we have any other tapes? That was powerful on truth. And it is so true. It's so true. It's so freeing. Okay, let's wrap up whatever we have left. Is it one or two more cuts, Gabe? Okay, so we got two more quick cuts that I want to play for you, and then we'll close out the show here. So here's more of Tucker Carlson. And again, this guy's going to succeed wherever he goes. And if he decides to build his own thing, that's only going to bolster alternative conservative media, because guess where his guests are going to come from? And guess what? People are going to start searching for other means of alternative media. And guess what? They're going to stumble on people like me. And so I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that. All right, here's more of Tucker Carlson.
Fire, and you hear a baby crying, and so you run inside. No one is trained to stand up in the middle of a DEI meeting at Citibank and say, this is nonsense. And the people who do that, they have my deepest admiration. And so their example really gives me hope. It thrills me. I talk to them all day long, people like that. That's the first thing.
Okay, so the sound was kind of bad on that one, but talking about somebody standing up, in the middle of a meeting, a board meeting at work or whatever, and just, hey, we're not bowing down to this DEI and CRT crap, and that gives him hope, and he was able to find stories like that. Let's roll the last tape here, Gabe.
A teen girl gets pregnant, and what do we do about that? And victims of rape, I get it. Of course I understand that, and I have compassion for everyone involved. But when the Treasury Secretary stands up and says, you know what you can do to help the economy? Get an abortion. Well, that's like an Aztec principle, actually. There's not a society in history that didn't practice human sacrifice. Not one. I checked. Even the Scandinavians, I'm ashamed to say. It wasn't just the Mesoamericans, it was everybody. So, that's what that is. Well, what's the point of child sacrifice? Well, there's no policy goal entwined with that. No, that's a theological phenomenon. And that's kind of the point I'm making. None of this makes sense in conventional political terms. When people or crowds of people, or the largest crowd of people at all, which is the federal government, the largest human organization in human history, decide that the goal is to destroy things, destruction for its own sake. Hey, let's tear it down. What you're watching is not a political movement, it's evil. So if you want to assess, and I'll put it in I'll stop with this. I'll put it in non-political, or non-specific theological terms, and just say, if you want to know what's evil and what's good, what are the characteristics of those? And by the way, I think the Athenians would have agreed with this. This is not necessarily just a Christian notion. This is kind of I would say, widely agreed upon understanding of good and evil. What are its products? What do these two conditions produce? Well, good is characterized by order, calmness, tranquility, peace, whatever you want to call it, lack of conflict, cleanliness. Cleanliness is next to godliness. It's true. It is. And evil is characterized by their opposites. Violence, hate, disorder, division, disorganization, and filth.
Good stuff. That's not biblical, though. Cleanliness is next to godliness. But in more generic terms, he's right. And I believe he was speaking more politically when it comes to that. But we are in a battle of good and evil. It is good versus evil. That's what we're up against. That is what we're up against in America. That is what the left is for. The left is promulgating evil in our society, and we've got to fight back with good things that are wholesome. The rule of law, life. We love babies, free speech, the ability to be able to go out and work and earn a living and not be punished for it. A legal immigration system which honors our nation and brings the best of the best here. A strong military, a strong energy independence, so that America can continue to thrive. And quite frankly, third world countries that are using fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas are thriving as well. A better educational system where our kids can go out and learn reading, writing, arithmetic, science, and art, and maybe decide at a certain point, you know what, I really want to trade. I really want to go this way or go that way. I think we need not just school choice. I think we need more school options after a certain grade. So just something to contemplate. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Subscribe to the podcast, thecarljacksonshow.com, or wherever you go to get your podcast. Follow us on YouTube and Rumble. Subscribe there. Ring the bell. Leave us a note. All right. Review it. Review us. It really does help. All right. YouTube.com, the Carl Jackson Show. Rumble.com if you prefer, the Carl Jackson Show. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We are there. Getter Truth Social. And guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Until next time, do not grow weary doing good. God bless you.